Well, hello and welcome to the GMIHub online. Tonight, we've got an amazing topic. We're talking about time management tactics. It's about scheduling and planning your music career. We're going to be discovering different things about song recording, time scheduling for streaming events, maybe writing about new material, or working and life balance with your music. My name is Dale Borland.
And I'm Cheryl Dewick. Welcome. I am very pleased to have with us two fabulous women artists have made their mark in North America and around the world. We have, all the way from Southern California, we have Bree Noble. Bree Noble is a musician, entrepreneur, public speaker. She is a podcast host as well. She runs 3 podcasts, I found out. One where she likes to promote music of women artists that are just trying to break into the music field. She also has one for female entrepreneurs and profitable musicians, just to, again, help musicians with moving forward in the music industry. And Bree herself was a traveling musician. She was, for 7 years, actually touring and very successful at what she was doing. So she's a great entrepreneur, a great musician, a great mentor, and we are so proud to have Bree with us. Thank you so much, Bree, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited.
And we also have, which is probably no stranger to a number of people here on our podcast, is Marlene O'Neill. Marlene is one of Canada's premier Southern gospel artists here in Canada. She's known not only in Canada, but also in the United States and in different parts of the world. Her music actually travels probably more than she does, to be honest with you. She is a lifer when it comes to musicianship. I think she came out singing, sang with her family, sang with her mom, and not with her dad, but her with her mom, sang a lot. And she got into full-time ministry with her husband. She, again, touring musician. You may also know her as a member of the Tonettes. And we are so happy that Marlene is able to spend time with us. Thank you so much, Marlene, for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. I've been really looking forward to this.
Great, that's
Awesome.
awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for being here as well. Also, maybe we should just start from the basics. Let's talk about goal setting for someone, for instance, who's just starting out. Maybe they're looking for the parameters of what an artist should be taking into account when setting goals for, especially for the 2021, the music career ahead. Let's talk about that.
I always say that artists need to start in kind of a brainstorm mode, because I think as artists, as creatives, we tend to have just a ton of ideas and things that we want to do. And sometimes that can make us crazy, right? Because we have so many things that we want to do and we're trying to follow all these different paths at once. And they can lead to nowhere because we're not focusing in certain areas. So I like to tell artists to start out with a big brain dump and just come up with all the things that you want to do for your music career this next year, all the things that you've been thinking about, you've seen other artists doing, whatever it is that's in your head, just spew it all out. And then I have a whole kind of system for organizing that to figure out, okay, so from all this stuff, which things are the things that we really want to commit to? And I like them to commit goals for 90 days, because I think that, in a year is just a long time, but a month is just too short to really accomplish anything. So I think 90 days is a pretty good goal setting time period. But I'd be curious to know what you think, Marlene.
I completely agree. I think even maybe looking at it from the other side, there are a lot of musicians, singers, artists who just kind of want to sit back and see what happens. They have lofty goals of doing great things, and it would be nice to do this, and my friend so-and-so does that, so maybe I'll try a little of that. And it isn't something that is written down or documented somehow. They just kind of sit back and just kind of wait for things to happen. So I love the idea of having, several months of goals and plans and ideas of where you'd like to be, and where you feel or where you see your career going, and being realistic too.
Yeah, I like the idea of the 90 days because it doesn't give too much on to the fact that they got so much on their plate, But it can be looked at as a resolution for 2021. So let's unpack maybe a little bit more about the 90-day goals. What kind of goals would they be thinking of?
Well, they need to really make sure that these goals are realistic and doable, because the worst thing you can do is set goals that are just like so unattainable that you can never reach them, and then you never do, and then you're like, I'm not good at reaching my goals, I should just not even try, and you get into that mode of like not being able to commit to goals because you just are automatically assuming you can't achieve them. So make sure that they're actually doable within 90 days. A lot of times, I'll do this exercise with artists and they'll be like, okay, I want to release an album in 90 days. And I'm like, that's pretty much not doable unless you're going to work 24/7 on that album, especially because there's a lot of things in there that are out of your control. You can't make sure that the studio gets your recordings mixed in time, and so you need to build in a lot of buffer time. So my biggest thing is that it needs to be actually attainable and realistic. It needs to be, as I said, for 90 days. And it also it needs to be something that you're willing to commit to for that 90 days. And like all other things need to go by the wayside. As Marlene said, like we see what other artists are doing and we're like, ooh, that looks cool. Maybe I'll try that. We get this like shiny object syndrome or squirrel syndrome, as I like to call it. And we just need to be like head down, like these are my goals. I'm committed to them. And whether I achieve them or not, I am going to go as far as I can on those goals in 90 days.
I like what you said about the squirrel syndrome. And there's two things that I just picked up on, though. And I know artists are very, very susceptible. And one is the comparison thing. Oh, this person is doing, you both said like this person's doing, so maybe I'll try a little bit of that. But what they are, if someone decide to make what someone else is doing as their goal and then it doesn't work for them, then they might look at whether it's 1 month or 90 days or even 12 months, they're going to see themselves as failures.
Right.
Any words of encouragement related to comparison syndrome?
I think it's important to, before you even take a mic or before you do anything that is outside of the four walls of where you live, it's important to be realistic about who you are, to be realistic about your talent, about in the Christian realm, being realistic about where you think God is placing you. We all want to do big, magnificent things, but I firmly believe that we're all created differently. We all have different talents. And I believe that your talent will make room for you. You will, everyone has a niche and there's a place for everyone to be in this big puzzle. And I may not fit into this. I may not be able to sing for this specific audience, but maybe Bree would be a better artist to come in and, speak to those people. But perhaps when you look at it on the other hand, I may be able to catch an audience somewhere that maybe Bree's situation would not fit into. So being realistic about who you are and what you were created to do.
I think that's so important because we tend to think that like other artists are competitors. Right. And I really try to cultivate in my communities, like we are all in this together, all boats rise with the tide. Yeah. And we're, just because I like one artist doesn't mean that I'm not going to like another artist is similar. In fact, I might more likely like them if I like that genre. So we're not competing. We should try to learn from and raise up other artists. But the other thing is to pay attention to the fact that we're not all in the same place in our career at the same time. So
Right.
whatever you see other artists doing, that probably won't work for you if you try to do it, because maybe they're on stage. You know, I kind of have this like 5 stages of music career growth that I've created, and maybe they're on stage 3 and you're only on stage 1. And like, if you do that thing, it's going to work for them because they've already built up so much audience, and they have, you know, they have a lot of things that they've already worked on to get there. Whereas you're totally new maybe. And if you try that thing, it's not going to work for you because you don't have those assets build up like they do. So yeah, that's just another reason not to get distracted by what other people are doing.
100%. Yeah.
That's like an old expression, know the lane you're in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stay in your lane.
Thank you for saying that we are not in competition, because I think that is very, very real. Some people, whether they're saying it out loud or not, feel that there's a competition. I have to be like this person, when really, you know, God created the entire body with different parts, different functions. And if we operated in the function that we're given, we will help the whole body, you know, advance further in the industry. So thank you so much for saying that, Bree. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down this line about distractions, though. I mean, you ladies have done the tour, like you have literally toured as musicians, but you are both married, you both have kids. How in the world did you manage all of that?
Can I take it first, Bree?
Oh, sure. I mean, I wonder sometimes. I actually started my music career when I had a 2-year-old, or I guess she was about 3 when I started going on tour. But I actually tell people that was the easiest time to tour, because they can't complain. You just drag them along with you. And, you know, so I had help. I brought my mom with me on tour, and once I was at the venue, I was in the zone and my mom was taking care of her. And, you know, that was the way to kind of compartmentalize those things temporarily. But distractions, it's hard because there's so many, even like a lot more now than when I was actually starting as an artist, as far as like social media. You know, when I first started as an artist, like MySpace was big, you know, Facebook was just coming out. And so now there's just so many distractions on so many different social medias, and we need to be there to, you know, talk to our fans, but yet it's so easy to just start scrolling and get distracted by what's happening on there and not get any work done. So I always really tell people, you know, you need to set boundaries with yourself as far as your technology. Things like, you know, shutting all the tabs on your computer when you're working on projects, so you're not distracted by, you know, notifications and even new emails and stuff like that come in. Put your phone, like right now, well, especially because I'm online, you know, on live here, but like my phone's in another room when I'm working, because otherwise I'll hear a text come in, or, you know, I'll see something cross the screen and I'll be distracted by it. So I think it's important to, like, if you really want to focus on getting something done, especially in relation to your goal, you need to put all those other things out and like set boundaries with yourself.
I completely agree. The focus is the key for me as well. When I started touring, I was pregnant actually, so I didn't have a choice but to carry my children. But I mean, that's a long time ago. My children are adults now, and I now have a grandbaby. But again, the same as you, same as Bree, I just carted them along with me. Now, back then it was different. Back then I did mostly church events, you know, Saturday night concerts, Sunday morning church, Sunday night concerts, that kind of thing. And my husband traveled with me because he managed all the technical side of things. So, and then we brought along a young lady from the church. There were actually a couple of them that volunteered to come every once in a while. And they would, the same as you, as soon as you get to the venue, you're kind of in the zone, and they take care of the child. And when they were young, as I got older, things were definitely different. I really made a point of separating work life and family life. So kind of the same as what you do, Bree, in when you say that you kind of make sure that the tabs are off and that you're focused on what it is that you're doing, and you're you don't want any distractions. And so a lot of the work that I would do from home, I would do it when the kids were in school. And then, at 3 or whatever time, 3:30, when it was time for them to come home, that's when the laptop was closed. That's when I put on my mom hat and it was time to make dinner and time to, do all those things that you do with younger children. And again, now as they're older, it's different again. Sometimes I don't even know what province I'm in sometimes.
No, that is true. The hectic schedule of an artist is sometimes they go to city to city to city and don't even know what time it is. It's rough when you go to hotel to venue to the hotel to the next city to hotel to venue. So we need to be thinking about that as far as before 2020, because we haven't had a lot of concerts recently, but it brought me to when you're talking about work-life balance. I think that's something that new artists really need to take in because you have to really think about that moving forward. So I want to remind you guys, we're watching GMIHub online. We have a website. It's right here for you. It's gospelmusicindustryhub.com. Go there and check it out for yourself. Find out more about what we do. And we'd love for you to drop us an email and communicate with us. And thank you so much for doing that. Also, if you're watching this tonight and you're saying, I want to share this with somebody that I know, do that right now. Share the experience and let them know that you're watching GMIHub online. And please do us the favor of liking the video and subscribing and hit the notification bell. All those doodads is really important for us to help us to be able to keep doing this. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, I'm going back to the distractions, and now we're going to fast forward to 2020 going into 2021. 2020, as you know, 3/4 of it was basically in lockdown because of COVID. And, with it being in lockdown, I mean, I'll say this. I think I also fell into this trap too. I thought, well, it's lockdown. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. So we have a lot of time on our hands so we can do whatever we haven't been able to do in a long time. And then we find out for some reason the day runs away from us and we don't accomplish anything. And for an artist, that can be detrimental because it's like, I promised I was going to finish a song today. Why didn't I get the song done today? The belief that we have a lot of time, but really it boils down to we not having a lot of time. Would you say there are anything different that people should do, that artists should do in order to manage their time, especially during COVID?
I mean, I do think we have more time. I think it's just really easy when all of our time is the same to have it, feel like it's going faster and you feel like you're in this twilight zone where you wake up and do the same thing every day. And so I don't know, for me, I'm all about calendaring stuff. That is what keeps me focused. Yeah. Awesome. Because I need to look in the morning, like when I'm bleary-eyed and I get up, I need to be able to look at that and go, okay, this is what my day looks like. And, these are the things I need to fit into these blocks that I've created for the goals that I have for my week. So I always encourage my students to create calendar blocks around their goals. So I teach them to set 5 goals for 90 days and then create calendar blocks within the week that they're going to work on those 5 goals. And then they've got kind of a backup list of everything they need to do for that goal that they can look at. I found that trying to put all that on the calendar makes them crazy. So it's just easier to here's a block. You're going to spend 2 hours and you're going to songwrite, or you're going to, work on some tasks related to your upcoming release or something like that. But I think I would be lost without my calendar.
I agree.
The days blend together. I don't even, I got up this morning. I'm like, is it Monday? I didn't even realize it's Monday.
Marlene, you got excited about the calendaring. Is that one of the things that you do as well?
I always thought that I was becoming my mother or my grandmother with sticky notes and things written down. But no, I mean, it's important. And now, of course, with cell phones and tablets and it's so important to have a list of things, like you said, specifically what you said, goals for that day. Now, mind you, there are times when that goal might have to be pushed from Tuesday to Wednesday because of whatever. But I think those are so important, and just stick to those goals and not look ahead. Well, Friday's jobs look pretty good, but no, you got to stick to where you are right now and work on that, because well, just like a river, right? I mean, you want to stay with the tide. You can't jump to the front. You got to stay with it and move along the way that it's supposed to be, the way that it's supposed to go, so that you can attain those goals. I mean, Bree, you could probably speak to that even more so, but I firmly believe in lists and conscious goals. It's good to have them in here, but I think it's even greater to have it written down somewhere.
You have to write it down. You
Yeah.
absolutely do. Especially, as I get older, I'm like, I'm sure I'll remember that, and then it's gone like 5 minutes later. So, or it will just take up so much space in your brain that you can't focus on what you need to. So yeah, writing it down is important. But I wanted to say, as you mentioned, like if you're looking at your calendar and you're like, oh, it's Monday, but I don't really want to do those things. Those things on Friday look really good.
Uh-huh.
I can see that, right? Because there's certain things in what we have to do that we don't like. I mean, for a lot of my students, it's booking, right? They don't enjoy that.
Right.
And I don't blame them. I didn't love it either when I was doing it. But so I always recommend like figure out the time of the day when you are the most productive, when you are like just excited to work on your music career, and make yourself do those things then. And I find that sometimes by the end of the day, when I'm just tired and I look at a task and I'm like, I'm going to throw up if I have to do this thing, but in the morning, it's like, I have so much better perspective on it. Oh, okay. I can bang this out, and then I can do something that is more fun to me. So,
right.
and it's not always the morning. Like I'm a total morning person, but if you're a night person and you get that second wind after dinner, then do those tasks that are hard at night.
So that's a good question, is that how do you cope with the distractions? I think you nailed that one. Do the time whenever you are most effective, and nail it down on those particular opportunities. That's great. Yeah,
absolutely. We all don't fit into the same mold, right? Just as Cheryl was saying, the body, they're all different parts, and we all are not arms, or we definitely do need to, like you said, put it into a space where you are most effective and where your brain work. Don't ask me to do anything before 11 o'clock in the morning. It's just,
see, we should just get together and become one person.
There you
I
go.
am like the most productive from like 4 a.m. to about noon. And then I'm like waning. And by 5, I'm just done. So
yeah, no, see, I'm complete opposite. We would make a very, very good team, Bree.
That's great. Now, you talked about calendaring, and that's a great and effective way. Is there any other methods that you can think of that'd be good to help people in their time management?
Well, I always encourage them that once you get your goals nailed down, you've got to figure out what steps will lead you to achieving that goal, right? We can't just keep looking at the goal every day and like meditate on it and like, I'm sure it'll come to me what I should do next. You've got to know what those things are, and those become the beginnings of your to-do list. But I understand that to-do lists can be overwhelming. So what I recommend is having kind of a big list of things that you need to do for that goal, to reach that goal, that you've broken it down into like lots of individual tasks, but not look at it all the time. Maybe once a week you look at it and you're like, okay, which things do I need to do to move toward this goal this week? I'm going to pick 3 and put it on your to-do list that you're looking at for that week. Because otherwise, or maybe every day you go in and you choose 3 things across your goals that you're going to work on, whatever works best for you. But you don't want to look at that never ending to-do list every morning, or you're just going to give up before you even start.
Yeah.
Right. So making realistic, achievable goals. That sounds like smart. Yeah.
That is foundational. I think yeah, definitely. You've said it all.
So a question has come up from the audience. We're talking about scheduling, it's not scheduling, calendaring and making lists, which kind of leads towards details. But at what point do you have to say enough with the details?
That's a good.
It's an interesting question, because I'm not sure that there is enough with the detail. Like you have to break it down.
Mm.
Otherwise, how will you know how to reach the end point?
I agree. So let's maybe make an example. I'm not a songwriter, so maybe we could look at something like you want to get some press shots done.
Yeah.
So you have to do the background work. You have to look at photographers' photos. You have to check out prices. You have to decide what you're going to wear, how you're going to do your hair, all of those, where you're going to do the photo shoot. Here we are in lockdown. My last photo shoot was done online, basically, it worked, but it was very different than actually going to a studio or having someone come to your show and take photos of you. You have to do all the nitty gritty background work, and I don't think a list can ever be too long. I mean,
that doesn't sound like fun. I mean, why would you want to do all that? That's not fun.
I know you just want to sing and write songs, and that's all you
Yes,
got into this for,
exactly.
right?
I'm an artist. I want to express myself. I don't want to work.
right. You sound like many who are maybe first starting, right? That's the whole idea.
Mhm.
They want to get to 10, and you have to do 2, 3, 4, and 5 to make your way there. You can't, just the same as an artist coming on the scene and you think, wow, like, where have you been? You've only been doing this for 3 years, but really you've been doing it for 13 years because you've been doing all that stuff that got you to where, where someone sees you for what you do. And there's a lot of work and a lot involved to get you there, whether it's a list or it's experience or it's, there's got to be some sort of foundation there.
You got to pay your dues. I know, I get that,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah,
absolutely. But it's just, I was exaggerating, of course, but there's so many people that are like, oh my goodness, how do I do this? And so they get overwhelmed.
right.
So
Right.
I just thought that it's from an artist's point of view, they might say, well, what can I do? I don't know if I can actually do that.
Well, and you can always bring people in, obviously in my career now, I have a team, but I still have to tell them what they need to do for me. I have to delineate these are the steps that we need to do to reach this goal or create this project. And they need to be assigned to someone, even if it's not me. So if you're an artist who, needs a little bit of help, or you're not good in certain areas, you might need to bring in some other people on your team, but you need to know who those people are. And the only way you can do that is by figuring out all the steps.
Yeah.
Right. And then be like, okay, I don't want to do 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to contract those out. And then you find the people you need.
That's good. Yeah. Delegate. Yeah, really important. I think our heads get so in the clouds, and again, we see the final picture, and we need to take a step back and just focus. I don't know if you guys do this, but I always have a kind of a word that I surround my life in for the year. And my word, I only discovered this yesterday, and I'm very happy to say my word for 2021 is focus. You want to be present in whatever it is you're doing, but you do want to take a couple steps back and kind of look at everything and be very deliberate in your steps, be very deliberate in where you're going, and just be mindful. Does that make sense? Mindful and
be very intentional.
Yeah, very, very, very important in any line of work, I would say, especially for creatives and for musicians.
I want to just appeal to people who are watching right now to, first of all, thank you so much for watching GMIHub online. We have a whole plethora of videos that you could look through, and we thank you for watching. But just share the experience, tell people about it, and let them know. Don't forget to click the links and like the videos, and that would be very helpful to us. Thank you for that. And also we have our website. Don't forget, it's the Gospel Music Industry Hub.com, and please go there. Send us an email. Let us know what you're doing. If you have any questions that we haven't covered, or maybe you've seen some of the other videos that we have, and you have some amazing questions. If we don't know the answers, we will find somebody who will know the answer. So don't feel that you have a question that is too far off for us to figure out. We will figure it out because we know people. All right. So so I was going to talk about what about streaming events? Planning a streaming event, scheduling something like that. In your experience, what kind of things should an artist, because of the way we're right now, we have no opportunity to be in front of people. We want to get in front of people, so we're thinking streaming. What kind of things, some sort of tactics they can utilize?
I think there again, breaking it down into all the details is so important, because when you're about ready to go live, you got to be focused on, I'm going to be performing, do I have my playlist? Do I have is my equipment working? All that stuff. So you need to write out kind of stuff that either you need to do right before, like if it's promotional, I want to post here and here and here to let them know this is happening. I want to send an email at this time, all that stuff. And then a list of things that you want to do on the live. Because I can tell you, every time I go live, I always think in my mind, I need to tell them, just like you just did, tell them to share this out and let people know that we're live and comment and all that. And I always forget to say it because I don't, if I don't have it right in front of me. So I've had to start putting something right in front of me, reminding me of the little points that I want to make while I'm on there. And, if you're doing songs online and you want to tell stories in between, remind yourself, just like you're doing a live show, of, okay, the set list. And then the next thing is whatever, the summer camp story or whatever it is that you want to say before the next song, because there's even there's a lot of distractions when you're performing live, but it's not as much because it's like they're out there and you're up here and the lights and everything. You can't necessarily see everything they're doing. But when you're online, there's comments, streaming and things, and it's so easy to get distracted from what they're saying and the hearts and things like that. It's just really important to have all your stuff in front of you before you go live.
So no, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Now, my streaming experience has been different in that I haven't really put it together myself. I have been a part of streaming things, but I've been invited as a guest. And so all of that kind of work is kind of already done for me. I just kind of show up and do my thing. But truth to say, really, you have to be mindful of the time slot you have, be checking your clock. Okay, well, like you said, I didn't mention my summer camp story. I really wanted to expound on the message of the third song, or whatever it is. So to have little notes, and I do that when I'm on stage as well, little notes to remind you to highlight something, or whatever else it is. It's great to have a list of songs, but all the meat in between the songs is important too.
Well, and I think you make a good point that it's probably been easier for you because you've been on lives where you were invited. And if you can do that for your own lives and have like a co-pilot, it's so much less stressful, right? If you have to handle all the tech and all that by yourself, even if they can't be with you because of the lockdown, they can be on the stream. They can be in charge of putting the link to your Patreon or the link to your your Spotify or whatever it is that you want them to do, or, your tip jar or whatever. If you have to think of doing that while you're also performing, it's really hard. So it's great if you can just bring a fan in.
That's great advice, Bree. I think listen, guys, if you're thinking about doing something online and streaming, this is good advice right here.
Yeah.
Get somebody to help you, join forces with you, a partner in crime, whatever you want to call it, but get that person to help you out, because it's really hard to think of all those things at the same time. I've seen so many artists go online and they're playing the guitar and they're singing along in between each song. It's like a gong show, just trying to muddle around. And I get it. It's okay. You can be yourself, be practical, be that type of transparency. That's great. But the planning and strategy, having somebody to kind of help you keep the ball rolling, that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can do it just like a gig swap. You can do it with another artist, and then you can do the same for them on their live.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's a great idea. So anyone looking to gig swap,
Marlene's looking.
that's right. That's a great idea. Yeah, I like that.
I want to get into systems. We've talked a little bit, you've talked about a little bit of some systems you've kind of used, but is there a particular system that you use to help manage your time?
Well, it's not exactly managing time. I mean, definitely the Google Calendar is what I use to manage my time. But Asana, which is an online kind of productivity app, and I use it to basically put all the lists of things that I need to do in there. And you can assign dates. What's great is you can create like recurring tasks. So, every time I need to post about my podcast, which comes out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I actually have a task in there to remind myself to do it, because one would think, oh, it's Monday, I'm going to remember to do that. But again, the days run together in COVID. Plus, I just have so many other things on my list, I'll probably forget. So you can do recurring tasks. You can do, and that's great for like, if, say one of your goals is you want to book this many gigs and you make Mondays your booking day. You just put in there to remind yourself to do your bookings that day. So I love to use Asana in conjunction with my calendar. But another thing you can do, if you're kind of the kind of person that's easily distracted, you can set a timer for yourself. Like you just use a computer timer or a phone timer and just set like a 25-minute timer. They call them Pomodoros. So 25 minutes on and 5 minutes off. And maybe after the 25 minutes, you get up and you walk around for a minute and get a drink of water and all that. And some people just work better that way to focus for short sprints of time. So if you're the kind of person that easily gets antsy or distracted, that's a good way to focus yourself as well.
Very good. I get hyper focused and nothing else matters until I'm finished. Producing a song or whatever, editing or whatever. And it's like I had nothing else. And I spend hours and hours and hours. And that's a good technique to just kind of say, put an alarm. You need to take a little break.
No, I do what you do. Like when I'm producing something or when I'm writing, same thing. I'll like look up and it's dark, like what happened. But if they're tasks that you really hate, sometimes you need that, okay, if I do this for 25 minutes, I'm going to be able to take a break, that incentive.
And that was Asana?
Asana, Asana.
Oh, ANA. Okay.
It's like a steam bath when you go in and there's rocks or steam.
Kind of. No, but that would be A-U. There's no U in there.
Asana. Okay, never mind.
Asana means flow, but everybody calls it Asana online because they don't know how to pronounce it.
I've never seen it before.
Okay. No, I haven't. I think that's fantastic.
It's free too. There's like more robust features, but you don't need them unless you're like a big business. So it's totally free.
Fantastic. I'm going to write that down too.
Yeah, we're going to look that up. And Marlene, I'll get you to answer this question about systems, but I'm going to preface it by saying this, that I was told that you have one awesome system that you use to manage your time. Like I was like, oh, it's really, really impressive. So impress us. No. what exactly do you use?
Well, you mean a system in balancing work and home, or is that what you're speaking of? I mean, it's nice to know that someone thinks that it's impressive, but I'm not sure which part of
the impression it was. It might have been a bit of both. I'm trying to remember the conversation, but it was like it was almost a there was a system apparently that you had showed this individual, and it really blew this person's mind away that you were so organized in. And I'm not sure if it was a work-life balance situation or if it was just how you managed your shows, or I'm not quite sure. So let's put it this way. Let's go with work-life balance. Let's start with that.
Yeah. Okay. My work and life are both very busy and oftentimes will dovetail into each other. I I think it's really important to have again, here we go with focus. It's important to delineate home life and work life. Yes, there are times when things meld into
Crossover.
each other. Yeah. But in a perfect world, in a non-COVID, you can travel where you want world, um, very, very practically, I would say, for example, the day following a return home from a tour. For me, that's a relaxed day, if it's possible. It's a day where you just kind of calm down, you from the stresses of traveling and performing. You don't do any business activities that day unless there's something definitely important that has to be done. No business tackled, and it's scheduled free. And I treat it as a day of rest. And for those of us who follow what Christ has put before us, we need to have a day where we just relax. I think going. That's for me. Going too much is too much.
Yeah. I call them pajama days. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wearing mine right now, actually.
Yeah.
But and scheduling in me time. I was actually talking to my daughter about that just the other day. Scheduling in time just for me, your mental health time, whatever that means, reading your favorite book or going to get your nails done or.
Oh yeah, that's what I do all the time.
I knew that. I knew that. And this is again when a physical or an online schedule comes in handy, so that you can see your month or your at a glance, and then you can kind of work out those details. Even things like choosing for a musician, for a vocalist, choosing the occasional pro bono job. Doing events that you're not being paid for, but something that's really near and dear to your heart. It is so easy to take everything that comes. Oh, sure, I'll do that. Oh, I know her. Yeah, I love her. Okay, I'll do that too. And you get so busy doing that kind of stuff, you don't have time for you. And you are important. You can't pour from an empty jug, right? You need to get filled up, and you need to take care of all that's going on with you. Things like staying connected with home while you're on tour, those kind of things. My music has changed so much over the years. I was doing a lot of my own booking, but now the majority of my schedule, again, in a non-COVID world, is working with the Tonettes, and we do stage productions. And so that is a completely other thing. We have a production team that takes care of doing the bookings, of booking flights and hotels and all those things, so that we as artists can concentrate on taking care of our voices, taking care of our bodies, taking care of things that will get us to the stage where we need to perform well, where we need to sing well. I'm very thankful for that, but it's very different now. Obviously, theaters are closed, so there's not a whole lot of that happening at all. But those are just, a few little practical. Am I going down the right?
It doesn't matter. What you're talking about is important. People need
Yeah.
to hear the many facets that that happen in an artist's career and their life. It's like everybody's different. Everybody has a different journey. But I'm telling you right now, there's somebody out there who can relate to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. I think it's important we cover as much of the bases as we can here.
Sure. And again, it's important to have a hub like this where we can get together. And now I'm doing your advertising. It's important for us to get together and talk about these kind of things and rub shoulders. And again, it's not a competition. We
Absolutely
all have a place in here. So we need to just share stories and don't keep it all to ourselves. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
Someone who may be watching who agrees and has been going through the same thing.
Right. And a great segue to remind people, thank you for watching. This has been We're not finished yet. We got a few more minutes now. I just want to thank you guys for being with us so far. Just hang in there. We got so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about more about song recording and things. So that'll be something that I think that some people might want to hear about. Now, just if you're watching this and you're really enjoying what's going on, please share the experience. Let people know about the GMIHub online. Like the videos. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, and please leave a comment. We'd love to have you guys write something down. We'll get back to you. We promise we will. We always do. Or you can go onto our website. Now, our website is the Gospel Music Industry Hub. And you can go on there and you can email us there. And you can also see all the great things that we're doing as well. We would just like to invite you into our community. That's what we want to do. We want to try and grow and to help you to grow, because we're talking about unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth as we move forward as an organization and ministries, including yours as well. We want to be a blessing to you. So take advantage of that. I mean, there's videos all up on GMIHub online, that some amazing content you do not want to miss. And so take your time and go through our videos and enjoy that. And thanks again for watching. Let's get into songwriting a little bit. Maybe not songwriting for Marlene, maybe song recording processes, looking at how that, let's talk about the scheduling and the music, how to work that all through.
Take it away, Bree.
So what are you talking about specifically? Are you talking
when
about
when you get into a songwriting for you want to talk about how does that work for you? Do you schedule a certain time where you go, I'm going to brainstorm this time, I'm going to work with I don't know, structuring the song here, I'm going to work with the, I have to get to this part, when I get to this part I go to
Oh, I wish it worked that way. Writing doesn't work that way for me. It's much better, I find, in that kind of creative pursuit to schedule time to work on it every day, and you get what you get. You know what I mean? Like you sit down, you just writing, or you try to work on it. You don't say, I need to make it to this point, or you're going to write crap. You say, I'm going to spend an hour a day or 30 minutes a day on writing, and whatever you feel like working on that day, you're going to write, if you're really into a song. And I find that if I do that and I'm like priming the pump every day, that I'll start writing in the back of my mind while I'm doing other things. I'm folding the laundry. I used to write when I would walk my daughter to preschool. Like it would be, things would be happening in my head while I was pushing her in the stroller or whatever. Because I primed the pump in the morning. So for me, writing was all about having consistency and not saying I need to get this song done in a week, because it would never happen that way, unfortunately.
We have a great tool now. We have a little cell phone most people have with a record mode in it. And I tell you, that is amazing for whenever you're just driving or whenever you're walking around. La, 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 you take it and you pull out a word, or you're thinking of a song concept. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I used to have to sing it over and over to myself till I got home so I could go record it at home, because that was before I had a cell phone that could record.
Right. Or call your house phone and leave yourself a message.
There you go.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yes, people have done that many times. Yeah.
And then it's really fun when your family members hear it and go, what is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember I heard a really good story. I got to share this with you. A buddy of mine is in a band, and he's doing really well with his band, and that's really good. But when he was younger, we used to hang out and play music together. And one night he was just dozing off in that place of almost awake, and he had this amazing song in his head. And he went to his tape. He always had a tape recorder. There's one of the buttons on it. Push the record and play down at the same time. So he pushes it down, and he's got the song. And he's going, it's like, oh, it's going to be amazing. I got the song. This is great. In the morning, he woke up. He couldn't wait to hear that. So he puts on the record or the play button. And hears,
Oh no.
He wasn't awake. He's just trying to, it was so funny.
God.
You gotta pick those moments, I guess.
Right. But I think that, around songs, like writing is not something that you can put on a to-do list in that way. That's why I always teach my students to, there are like habit goals is what I call them, versus project goals. So to me, writing is a habit goal, and then, you produce things from that habit. Whereas project goals are like, I'm going to record this song. And you don't have to, obviously you have to be in good voice and all that, but you don't have to have inspiration per se to be able to record a song and, you know, lay down some vocals and the piano part and whatever it is you need to do to record. So to me, things like that, recording a song, you can absolutely make into a goal that you break down into steps.
Right, because it's not as inspired. It's more like you go through the method of recording the song. I mean, creating it's a different thing than actually producing.
Right.
Right, I get your point. So Marlene, let's get into that, because we're finished talking about songwriting. We're talking about production now, in the sense for you, whenever you go into, I mean, are you just like the vocalist, or you come in and you're looking at the music and the arrangement, or how's that for you?
When I'm recording, I've only written a couple of songs in my life, and nothing that I would ever want anyone else to hear. God's gifted other people with that, so honestly, I look for songs that, I mean, you want good songs, but I want songs that I would have written if I was a writer, or songs with a message that speak to me or speak to where I am at that time of my life, or of that stage of my life. It's a long process for me when I'm looking for music. I have a few writers that I kind of tap into, and let them know that I'm thinking of recording, and, you know, I'm looking for a ballad or that kind of thing. I have some writers that will send me stuff. And then there are other songs too, like, you know, a popular hymn, or, you know, something like that, something that's already known, but working with the producer and working on an arrangement that that speaks to my vocal style, the style of the album that I want to produce, instrumentation, all of those things. So it's a long process. I have several CDs out now, my last one being a hymns album, but it's really pared back. It was Corey Butler produced it, and it's basically just piano. There's a little bit of organ in some of them, but it's basically just keyboard and vocals, and I just wanted the lyrics to shine. And obviously, I mean, if you're doing a hymns album, there were a kabillion songs that I could choose from, but I chose songs that really spoke to me first. And when a song speaks to me, then I can deliver the song with conviction, and as if I actually wrote it.
So you have a kabillion choices. You put a million on the album?
Yeah. I think that's the hard part, is whittling it down to, you know, and you hear singers talk about it all the time. You know, I could have put 40 songs on this album, but maybe they slice it up into, you know, different album, or by the time you're ready for the next album, you're on a different trail. So your likes and dislikes and your content is different, you know.
Yeah, I felt that way about making my Christmas album. I was like, there's so many songs that I would love to sing. So maybe a second one someday.
Yeah, there you go, right? There's always, and then when you're halfway through the process, then you're thinking, oh yeah, what a wonderful world. That would have fit in here nice, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you have to stay focused and stick to the task at hand.
So, final question. I'll try and make it the final question. And this is my well, actually, both Dale and I take turns asking this question. If you were to offer 3 tips to music artists about how to make the most of their time, even now during COVID, but what are 3 ways music artists can make the most of their time to, I guess, maximize even a little bit of time in order to get the most out of their music career? What would you suggest? What are some tips you would give them?
Okay. Well, I would definitely say use a calendar. Be religious about your calendar. And that doesn't mean that you can't move things around. Like, it's not set in stone, but it gives you a plan every day. Secondly, I would say, have a meeting with yourself at the end of every week, or I kind of usually say like Sunday night, and be like, okay, what went well last week? What did I actually get done? And what did I think I was going to get done? And how can I be more realistic about this week? Or what could I do to move around to be able to actually maybe get more done this week? What was in my, in my way from getting the things done that I wanted to get done? A lot of times we just don't debrief. And so we keep making the same mistake over and over again, whether it's, biting off more than we can chew, or actually not setting ourselves up for success with what, the way we've planned things. And then I'd say thirdly, like, make sure that whatever you're working on, you're present in that thing. I was going to mention this earlier because I tend to be extremely ambitious. And I know when I was first like getting my music career off the ground or getting this business off the ground, my mind was always in that, and when the kids needed help with this, or I was always like, it's annoying. That's, I'm focused on this. So you need to, this life work balance. I don't know that it's a thing. I feel like it's more life work harmony. And so when you're doing the life thing, you need to be fully in the life thing. And when you're in the work thing, be fully in the work thing as much as possible, and set those boundaries with your family so that you can be present with them when you're with them. If they keep interrupting you, you're not going to get your work done. And then you can't go play that card game later that you promised you'd play. So, just make it clear to them, like, hey, if you don't come in here for 3 hours, I can get my work done, and then we can do something fun. So I would say just, in that, be present in what you're doing and set the boundaries with the people that you love and that you live with, to make sure that you can be present in both things and not always feeling like you should be doing the other thing when you're doing the one thing.
I received that.
Right.
And I love the fact you put the word harmony in there, because it's a very musical term and it's perfect for what we're talking about. Life, work, harmony. I love it.
I like it too. Yeah. It sounds like a good album name.
It does, doesn't it? It really does.
Right. We're all going to collaborate. Oh, that's another show. Okay. Marlene, if you had some advice that you would like to give artists just to help them manage their time, to get the most out of their time and the most out of their career, what would you suggest to them?
I kind of feel like I'm maybe on the same line as you are, Bree. First of all, taking a step back, as I spoke about before, and looking at the whole picture, being very purposeful in what it is that you are devoting your time to. And again, my notes right here say exactly what you said, Bree. I'm going to devote 2 hours to this, whatever it is, and then I will have 2 hours to devote to skipping outside with whomever, doing something else that requires, or something else that is not related to my career. Being very purposeful and staying mindful of and deliberate with every step. And those sound like really rigid sort of rules, but I don't really think they are. It's just a place where you need to shift your focus and your mind, and just being purposeful, mindful, and deliberate. Those are the words that I would. I
think you're absolutely right, because you got to have some space to move within, and that makes sense.
And I think that ekes out into anything, not just for musicians, but for, whatever you do in life. I think you have to be in the moment and be present, all those important things.
Wow, we have learned quite a lot today. I was just in my head, just listening to all of you, and I everything from the very top of brain dumping to know how to set a goal, what your goals are going to be, and then kind of filtering out which ones you're going to focus on for 90 days, through to calendaring and list making. And although lists can be overwhelming, there's still sounds like it's a very positive thing to have a list. Don't get rid of the details. stay close to the details, because the details help you know what steps you got to take. Um, Setting boundaries, that's a big one. I'm receiving that one. Setting boundaries, and with your loved ones, even with yourself, setting boundaries. And I know, Marlene, you felt you derailed, but you did not derail. That was what you were saying about thinking about yourself and actually scheduling time for yourself, scheduling time to take care of the you, because
Right.
how good are you going to be in your music career if you can't do it? Like, you are too
Exactly.
tired, or you're
Yeah,
too
exactly.
you're um, expended. So it is so important to schedule you time, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is just all rich stuff. And if you're just tuning in right now, I've just given you a little bit of a summary, but if you want to hear all the details, you can always come back, watch this. It's going to stay here on YouTube, and you are welcome to watch it again. Hey, start a watch party and have a whole group of you watch this, because this was rich. This is really, really rich, learning from two fabulous women who have toured. They've been in the music industry. They're award winning. They are entrepreneurs. They I want to say they've been around the block and back when it comes to all the scheduling, everything that they've had to manage, from touring to families and so forth. I mean, there's so much we can learn from this. So I hope that you will take the time to re-look at this, re-listen to this, and take all of this to heart. Bree and Marlene, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being with us and sharing from your heart, sharing from your experiences. I believe you two are fabulous mentors for all of us. So thank you for sharing with us. I can't say
Absolutely.
more than
Pleasure.
that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are so welcome. This was really fun.
And we'd love to have you back again. We would, if your schedules will allow.
I can put it on my Google Calendar and it'll be there.
I love it.
I love it. Scheduling, awesome.
But I also wanted to, like, I know you may have heard Dale talk about it, to go to our website. What you don't know is we've launched another monthly newsletter called Hub Happenings. We've had it before, but this time it is purposeful, taking a word from today's meeting, very purposeful, very deliberate. This newsletter will actually help promote you. If you are launching a new song, you're doing an event, whether online or not, we have a section in there called Member Happenings. So if you go to our website and you give us your email address, you're a member. And if we find out, or if you want to forward to us that you are doing something really special, send it to us at info@gospelmusicindustryhub.com, and we'll be happy to include it in Member Happenings. You know what? It's a way of the community knowing what's going on, and for all of us to root for you. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to build the community. We're here to help one another. And as was said earlier, we're not in competition.
No.
We're actually a body trying to work together. And that's why Gospel Music Industry Hub encourages unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth. So with that in mind, as was said, you can always follow us on on the social medias, not all of them, but we're on Facebook, we're here on YouTube, we're on Twitter. Did I miss one? Instagram, we're on Instagram, as well. And we have our website. So you're welcome to check us out and spread the word about what we're doing, because this sounds weird, but we're not here necessarily for us. We're here for you. So thank you for joining us. And we look forward to being back next week. It'll be a studio talk week.
Yeah.
So you will see another face. You will see Daryl, who's one of our hosts for studio talk. But until then, we want you to have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
God bless you all.